Okay, well, while I was doing that, I'm going to run the bathroom real quick.
Okie doke. Yeah, now's a good time because we got an episode this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do it the professional way.
that's
I
right.
got my Depends.
Doing it live.
Do it the professional way.
My daughter asked me today. She's like, well, so like one of her friends is still in diapers. It's like a family friend's kids. And I think she's like 2, maybe. So she's like definitely still in diapers. And my daughter was like, well, she's still in diapers. And we're like, yeah. And you can see like the wheels turning. She's like, I'm not in diapers. I was like, well, no, because you're like a big kid. Like you know how to use the potty. She goes, Are there adults that wear diapers? And it's like, well, that's a good question. Like, yeah, sometimes people need diapers for whatever reason. She's like, interesting. Do they wear like adult sized diapers? And it's like, yeah. And she goes, okay, interesting. And it was very much one of those like, much to think about sort of conversations. It's like, okay, I thought this was leading somewhere.
Tell me more.
All right. She just wanted to know. And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Man, I've been having, I don't know what the hell's been going on with me, but just having thoughts about just life in general and how I'm potentially, I'm like, yeah, and it's not like I'm reaching for a midlife crisis or anything, but it's one of those things where at first it's like, man, so-and-so died at 80, a couple other people died around 90, so, statistically within the next couple of years, I'll be at midpoint.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I need to start saving up for a good car.
I need a Camaro.
Nah, I want to go big.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I don't know how big, but maybe I'll just buy a Ducati motorcycle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Just bring it all the way home.
That's right. That's right.
Why wait till 80?
Crazy person.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpier.
Hello, Governor.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Let's quickly blow through the beginning of this episode here. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
All the early access, behind the scenes, cool stuff. We have like 400 news stories this week, so we got to keep this clipping. Also, you can watch the live stream for Moon's cat, who loves him very much. Hi, Louise. And all the stuff over there. $5 a month is recommended tier. That's per month, not per episode. So we're not going to put out a bunch of episodes a month and then you send us $30. You want to send us $30? Please do. That would be fantastic.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Also, if you're listening to audio version, out at the same time should be our most recent episode of TVGP's Game Club, episode 100, which we've finally done it, where we played Escape Academy. If you haven't played Escape Academy, we spoil a whole bunch of it, not only puzzles, but kind of story stuff. I think the recommendation from all of us in that episode was you should really go play this game. It is a very cool thing that's like 5 hours or less, and it's on Game Pass. So Moon played it co-op with a bunch of different groups of people and had a really great.
Ask if there was co-op or multiplayer.
There is co-op, cool. And it does some cool things, sort of story-wise with co-op. I highly recommend Escape Academy. So go play it and then go listen to the episode of Game Club where we play it. Our next episode will be The Room, the 2012 mobile game that's also out on Switch and PC. So come join us and play that for the next month.
Yep.
I think that's it. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
I don't even bother writing these down, Boston. Most of them anyway. Skatebird. I wrapped up my last few achievements on that, which was mostly just collectibles.
Right.
Let me tell you, when you start messing around with the accessibility options in that game, it gets a whole lot more fun to play.
Nice.
You can make it harder to bail. You can make it so you jump high, you push further. You never have to worry about the speed issues.
That's cool.
That game, if you mess with those settings, can be above average.
Nice. That's a back of the box quote.
Yep. Can be
I didn't realize
above average.
how derogatory it sounded until literally it came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounded terrible. It was fine.
Yeah.
I'm also saying that having someone who played it as Game Pass, which it is now no longer part of. So,
okay.
buy and play at your risk.
Right.
Let's see. Obviously, Escape Academy. We did that for Game Club. In this week's edition of How Are We Gonna Play Dead by Daylight Weirdly?
Okay.
The answer is all about them hatch games.
Yeah.
Because we all thought, well, no one in their right mind ever plays that game with a map or a key because they're useful, but only when you're playing as a group. And we never use them because we're all more focused on the main objectives. So we thought, screw it, we're just going to run with a map and a key and hope we can get the hatch to spawn. And then once we have the hatch to spawn, we're just going to try and jump out of it that way. It never went anywhere because that is a very difficult thing to do, to be completely honest.
Okay.
But it was hilarious. Like we were talking about, it's like, yeah, if any killer sees us all jump into the room together, and it's like, wait, one person's holding a map and the other person's holding the key. I know exactly what's going on here.
Right.
Because your item that you bring in, your character holds it before the map loads. So in like the lobby system, they're holding the item.
Right.
So
that's kind of
you
cool.
can literally see what it is. It's like they're gonna know immediately what our game is if they see.
They're gonna put it together pretty quickly and be like, "All right, now I see where they're going."
Say that's where you got to play the deception game, where someone's got a key, but you're not going for that hatch.
That's right.
Oh, that's when I bring the broken key in, which can't open the hatch.
Oh,
and it's just like,
right.
It's just it's a fake within a fake, a trap within a trap.
What are we up to?
But no, it was fun. We had a blast. I think I played like 3 different times this week. One of my favorite times though was we had a pretty we had a lot of wraiths this week. That's the guy who goes invisible. Who I apologize if you're a wraith main, but the wraith is easy baby mode for killers.
Okay. So he's kind of like your starter, your Ken Ryu killer.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Ken, he's probably more like Asuka. Asuka, because he's super OP when it comes to his abilities.
Please. The claws.
Thank you. But the straight fact is he can go invisible.
Right.
And when he's invisible, he doesn't have a terror radius, so it's easy for him to sneak up on people and things like that.
Gotcha.
But we had a whole bunch of them, and we ended up having one who was a pretty solid killer, and I will give him credit as well. He cycled through all of the survivors, putting us each on the hook one by one until he got all of us to 2, because he's probably trying to maximize his blood points. And we were having fun and so on and so forth. And then he gets Rob, who's every one of us is now on dead on hook. He finds Rob, he puts Rob down, he picks Rob up, and he's heading towards the hook. At which point I'm sprinting beside him, then next to him, then in front of him to do a 180, blind him with my flashlight, make him drop Rob, and oh boy, did he hate me after that point.
He's coming right for you.
Literally avoided everybody else until I was dead, essentially. It was just like,
man.
oh no. You done made me drop a survivor who then can stand up and run away.
This will not do.
All of my focus is 100% on you.
Oh man.
But we had fun. Like, it was a good time. I am at 1.5 million blood points, so only 500,000 to go till I get my next cap screenshot.
Your next screenshot, yeah.
Because that's me apparently.
Yep.
But it was fun. It was annoying a little bit this week because we literally had all of the easy killers, which is the Doctor, the Wraith, the ones who are impressively hard to get away from. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I guess we're just playing against a bunch of rookies.
Is this still on Game Pass?
It is, yes, because every time I load it up, I get that play a Game Pass game completed thing.
Oh, right. I'm pretty sure that's just a staple of Game Pass now.
It would be nice if it was, because like I like the idea of having a couple of multiplayer games that are kind of always on Game Pass, where it's like, hey, you want to play a cool asymmetrical multiplayer thing? Dead by Daylight is on Game Pass. It's been on there for 5 years. It's gonna kind of always be on there. Everyone has
it's a known
to
quantity that everyone checks out.
Exactly. Like if you don't have the bandwidth to download it, you can at least stream it, because the streaming from consoles works fairly okay for a lot of people. So like you kind of have a couple of options to just get together and start playing.
Yeah, and it's also a game designed for that, because it's got an absolute boatload of DLC, and it has a cosmetic marketplace built in there now, which has got 5-6 years worth of cosmetic content in there for you.
Nice.
And it has the season pass thing too, so it's like it's designed at this point. I feel it's designed to be a free-to-play game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you get in, you get your season pass, you get your cosmetics, you get all that kind of jazz done, and you bounce. Like, I don't see why they wouldn't keep it there, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer.
Yep.
Especially when they get so many people buying the DLC. Yes. I still haven't run into Wesky yet, which I'm happy about, because apparently he's a nightmare.
Right.
Oh, wait, no. The nightmare is Freddy. I don't know what Wesky's code name is. They are all called something stupid. But no, Dead by Daylight is fine. My main game this week is another game that left Game Pass, because I have a problem.
You like the pressure.
I will see a game.
You aren't clearing your hard drive anymore. You're just playing by, oh, hey, what's leaving Game Pass this week?
I'm playing by deadline.
That is my problem. Because it's like, oh, that game looked cool. I think I might play that. And then 2 years, 18 months, a year later, whatever it is, oh, that looked really cool, and I didn't play it. And it's leaving Game Pass in 4 days. So,
challenge accepted.
I guess it's time to buckle down and check TA and see how long them achievement guides are.
Right.
Slime Rancher leaves this week, by the way, folks. So,
okay.
But then Slime Rancher 2 comes out in December and is on Game Pass. Yeah, that's the game they're playing.
Slime Rancher 2 comes out this week, by the way.
Oh, wait, it comes out this week?
It sure does.
I love. I'm sorry.
I thought it was December.
The head snap by Nymph there was great. Where it's like, wait, what? Straight to the other monitor to the news feed.
Yeah.
All right.
But no, like it's a great game. I bought it when it was first came out, because I think it came out early access, and I think
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very much like the Elite Dangerous thing, where it's like, I'm going to pay for this game, and then play it when it gets released into 1.0.
Yep.
And in this case, never played it. So therefore, I don't know. But yeah, it's I like this is a fallacy, because it's not true. I like free games.
I
like short games.
Okay.
Game Pass usually does a good job of like the short games that I wouldn't get to normally, or I wouldn't buy. It's like, okay, here's a cool short game. That one for me this week is Lost Words Beyond the Page.
Lost Words Beyond the Page.
I was say that sounds familiar.
Okay.
So this is a journal writing / platformer.
Okay.
So you it's a very narrative driven story about a young girl writing in her journal, because she wants to be a writer, and you help choose the direction of what she's writing in the journal that helps you develop the platforming side of the game. And it's a side-scrolling like platformer. And you use Words of Power, which is a book that you open up to have an effect on the world, like lift things up, knock things down, repair them, break them, things like that. It's all about this, like, powers of the fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a kind of cool, because each chapter is essentially one chapter of journal writing, one chapter of playing the story that's being written in the journal.
Oh, okay.
So your character looks how you choose in the journal section. The things that you collect are the things that you collect in the journal section. It's really warm and heartfelt and like blue sky. until about 50% of the way through. Then it takes a hard left turn into, oh, this is just straight depressing now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's a cool
Shoves
style
you off a
too.
cliff, jumps on top of you, and then takes your girl.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We're
But
traveling
like
to hell.
the journal section, like you're jumping over the words, so you're running on the words, jumping around page as the page gets filled in, and then you're using like the right stick and trigger to pick up words and slot them into the journal, and then you do the same thing on the platforming side. You're running around, and then you use the words of power to change the level. Like, it's this really cool, unique way of telling the story that I genuinely enjoyed the whole way through. But man, when it took that hard left turn, I was like, of course you're going to do this because you're a cool little story.
Right.
And now you have to take the hard turn and tell a sad side of the story.
Right.
Which it makes sense, and it's great. It's the way it tells it is great. You can choose your words of grief. Minor spoiler alert there. When you're writing the journal side, the art style changes to be much more dark and depressing when the thing happens. It's a really well told, like, little I think it was like 5-6 hour game. That's like just genuinely a cool little experience that I had fun with.
Yeah.
Like, it's really solid. I know Boston's on the stream right now. He's showing like the journal things. Like, as you're in the journal side, it does this cool thing of like, oh, I had these memories, and then it'll show like the outlines of photos, and then you have to use the word memories to paint in the photos.
Oh,
and
cool.
then once that's done, it'll open the door in the page for you to go to the next page, and it tells this really cool little story as it's going through it, and it's really well done. It's like super, super unique, and
yeah.
And it's just, I'd like to say it was an evergreen kind of game. It's 100% not, because things happen in that game where it's just like, okay, now you're just making me sad.
Right. How could you do this to me, indie game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was fun. It was like 5-6 hours. I think it's like $15 tops if you wanna pick it up.
That's cool.
It's really, really nice design. Like, fun to play. Obviously, it's not like the most in-depth thing on the face of the planet, but it was cool. I had a blast. Well worth your time, and I would actually also say well worth your money too. Skatebird ?
Right.
Lost Words. Go for it.
I'll say
That's
it
cool.
reminds me, and I just screwed myself because I don't remember the name of the book now. But the book, it's something Autumn Leaves or something like that, where you had to like maneuver the book and reread certain parts to get the mystery that's in the book.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look that up. I have it upstairs. I don't remember what it's called.
That's cool.
But no, it was fun. It was a good time, and honestly, kind of until it took the depressing turn, it was kind of what I needed after my hellscape of a week this week. So,
right.
You know, give it a shot. I don't know how much it is.
Lost
now.
Words
Like
Beyond the Page.
Yes, Lost Words Beyond the Page. Well worth your time. Unfortunately, that is all I had time to play this week. If you're a patron, you can go listen to the pre-show to find out how little time we all had this week.
True.
So, Nymph, take it away.
I'm gonna have to figure out what that book is called. I'll tell you guys next week, because I'll go upstairs right after the podcast and grab it.
That's right. Stay tuned next week.
Yeah. So what I've been playing this week. Voice of Cards, Beast of Burden. I have very little to say about this because I've only played not even an hour of this yet. They changed the narrator. It is now a female narrator. And I believe it is because you are now playing as a female main character now.
Okay.
Which is great because they've changed the narrator in the past 2 games too for each game. So, and now you do not have skills. In the past games, you would level up, your characters would unlock skills, and now what happens is your character gets skills by defeating monsters.
Oh no, my weakness.
Well, kind of. So it's not an exact one-to-one to how I just described it, so I'm going to get a little more into it. What happens is once you've beaten a monster a certain amount of times, you have to wait at the end of battle for it to pop up and says that a treasure has been found. You then have a 1 in 3 chance of choosing either dealing poison or poisoning something. Second star rating, it does 11 points of damage and has an increased possibility of poisoning something.
Right.
So, and I think they go up to like 5 star ratings.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting. What do you got going on there now?
Oh, sorry, that's just Twitter. I was trying to see because I got a notice from XSplit that's just like, yeah, we terminated your stream. See you later. It's like, sorry, what?
Huh. Okay.
Did you know? Because apparently you didn't.
Yeah. Well, I brought it back up immediately, so hopefully it's back up now.
I was say it stopped for a moment and it's working again. So
great.
But that's all I have for Voice of Cards. Because like I said, I haven't had a chance to put a whole lot of time into it. My next game that I also haven't had a chance to put a whole lot of time in is that I did finally download Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. HD.
Which one?
1 and 2.
1+2?
Yeah. I literally played it like 15 minutes before we started this. Got into the warehouse. I've got all of my warehouse goals completed, except for I think you have to get 100,000 score or something like that, 70,000 and 100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, but I think so.
Yeah, but I already spelled skate. I already broke all the boxes. I have all the hydrants, and I have the hidden tape.
Oh, nice.
So I could move on. However, I'm not going to until I get all of my goals completed.
Right.
That's more like it. That's my boy.
I created my own character. So now I have Old Man Nimp in this, and I would love to pull out my PlayStation memory card and find Teenager Nimp from the PlayStation 1 era.
Right.
But yeah, it's still really good. I am running into an issue right now, and I just have to keep playing with the settings where it is super dark on my TV. And I've already adjusted it twice, both the black and the white scaling, and it didn't seem to make a difference.
Interesting.
So I'm going to have to go in there and actually figure out what's causing the issue. Because like right now, how you have it in the stream, you can see the corners of like the ramp and stuff in the warehouse. For me, that's just black.
Oh, weird.
It's like I'm playing a
busted
Silent Hill
HDR
game.
business.
Yeah. So I got to go in there and play with some settings. But yeah, it's fun. The music's still fun. They couldn't get all of it, or they got most of it.
I think they're only missing like a handful, if I remember.
I was gonna say because
I think so. Yeah.
It sounds like how I remember it sounding. It plays like how I remember it playing. So
that's all you can ask for.
I can remember being at this exact same point when I was playing it on the original PlayStation. Of the controls have come back to me. I know what the buttons do. Now I just need to implement it.
Right.
Are you doing everything you can?
Yeah. Cramming it into the last second. And there's been so many times. And that's actually one of the things that I like when you bail, how your character like glitches out and then just ends up back on their skateboard. I think that's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, that's a cool effect.
So my last game that I played that I spent all of my time on this week is Soul Hackers 2. Because I just needed to beat that game. And I was close. I knew I was close. I beat the game in 38 hours.
Okay.
I played it on easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. Hang on. I'm going to tell you why you're going to want to play this on easy first. And then move it up to hard. So on easy, what I've noticed is all it does is it makes the common rabble in the dungeon slightly easier to fight. You don't have to worry so much about weaknesses. You still should, because it makes them a little longer, but it's not like in normal mode where if you just completely ignore weaknesses, that's usually going to be like a 15-20 minute fight.
Yeah, like if you don't get the Sabbath attack in normal mode, then it's like, all right, you're here forever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In easy mode, it's doesn't bring it down by that much. It's probably still going to be like a 5-10 minute fight, but it's not as difficult. That's only for the common rabble. For bosses, I felt like I was fighting in hard.
Oh wow, okay.
And that was part of the reason why I had bumped it down to begin with on normal mode, because they were like stupid difficult in normal, but on easy they were still kind of difficult. So you're not just walking through the game. The was it? There's like a mid boss in the last area that was kind of like a checkpoint to me because I was kind of just avoiding fights. I would hit them just to knock them down so that the little enemy icon would stop chasing me, and then I would continue on my way so I can finish my quest or whatever.
Right.
I then got to a boss in the last area that was pretty much like, the gatekeeper. Was like I couldn't do anything to him. As soon as I got him down to a point, he was bringing in more demons and stuff. At the point, he had the field stacked where it was like 6 of them versus 4 of me. That ain't great.
Yeah.
Because I was not doing a ton of damage. There was also a summon that he has that blocked magic and would reflect it back to you on all characters. Yeah, so it was a pain. On top of the fact that it was almost constantly healing the entire field on their end, all the way back up to full HP.
Jeez.
So I did some grinding. Was able to go back later once because I think at the time, trying to think, I think that boss was like level 62 or something, and I was like 52. Like I was way under leveled, and I was just trying to see how far I could push it without having to really engage a whole lot. That is apparently the limit. So once I leveled up to about 60, which it doesn't take long, I don't know if it was because of easy mode, if that changed some settings, or if it would have been the same in normal. But since I was such a low character level in that game, in that area, I was leveling up faster until I reached about that same level that all the monsters in the dungeons were. And then it started to slow down.
Okay.
So like I said, I don't know if that's a side effect of playing on easy or if that is just how the game is system-wise created.
Right.
Either way, it helped out because instead of spending what could have been hours grinding to get up to 62, it took me like maybe a half hour, an hour to get to that point. And I got all these extra demons, and I was able to do all this extra fusing now because I had all these different demons.
Right.
Went back there, finally beat him. It still wasn't like I showed up and whooped his butt. It was still like I had to mind, the weaknesses, the elements, using status. I actually had a couple of things where I could reflect back either physical attacks or magical attacks, which would then bounce them back on the enemies. So that helped out a lot. So, and that is one thing that I still love about SMT is that you can do status effects to bosses.
Yes, I always love that.
Yes, and I always forget it because it is not something that normally happens in a JRPG.
Yep.
So beat them, continued on, got to the final boss. The final boss is its own thing. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to be talking about lightly the things I had to engage in. At one point, it was said out loud, "This is not my final form."
Yes. Love it.
There was about 2, 3, 4-ish forms about.
Okay.
They do, and again, I don't know if this would be the same on normal, but on easy, you don't get a break in between the boss phases. It just throws you back in there.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, though, it threw me back into the fight with full health, full MP.
Nice.
So I'm not sitting there trying to, buff up my characters and stuff from the last fight that I did. So that's a pleasant thing. Another thing that I'm pretty sure is because I was playing on easy was that the final boss did kill me. It took me about 15-20 minutes to get it down to half health, and then it just full-on wiped me out. Because this is set up that the lower in health that it gets, the harder it hits back.
Gotcha.
However, the glass cannon portion for the boss is, yes, it's hitting harder, but now it has more weaknesses.
Okay.
And it's constantly changing its weakness that it has at the start. So at first it's not weak to bullets. Maybe in a couple turns, all of a sudden it is weak to bullets, but it's no longer weak to ice, which it had been before. So it's constantly switching its affinity weakness. Like I said, it killed me when I got it to half health, and the game came up with a little prompt that says, "Do you want to continue?" I was like, "Yeah," because I was doing good. So what I was expecting it to do was just throw me back at the start of the fight, and have to work my way back up to it. What it did was it just revived all of my characters with full health, and the boss kept its current health, and it was like, "All right, keep going."
I'll take it.
I was like, "Yeah, exactly." I'm like, "Will do."
Yeah.
So about another, I want to say it was like a good 45 minutes of fighting this thing, of just constantly bouncing back and forth between buffs, debuffs, bringing down its stats, all of that crap. I finally took that stupid thing out.
Nice.
And it was fun. I liked it. This game is set up to play it multiple times. You cannot get the first, or you cannot get the good ending on your first run. You have to play it a second time to get the good ending. From my understanding, that is linked to the soul levels. All of your characters have to be like higher than level 100. And you just get those. Okay. They're doing like hangouts and events with them and stuff like that. And it brings like I think I had one character that wasn't 100 by the end of this, and they were at like 97 or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you're not that far off from redoing the game. But yeah, final boss shenanigans just sucks.
Yeah.
It's there and it's
enforced. The Atlas classic.
And that's what I'm saying. Playing on easy, the bosses were still a challenge. I never felt like I just walked up on a boss and just mopped the floor with them. I still felt like I had to earn that fight.
Yeah.
There. So I would highly suggest your first time through, just play it on easy. Get your stuff out of the way. And then we have New Game Plus.
Right.
So, New Game Plus. I'll run down this list and then I'll be done.
Okay.
It's a list. For New Game Plus, your soul level grows faster for each New Game Plus clear that you have.
That's cool. All right.
You get additional personnel quests or events.
Okay.
You get additional requests. Selections already chosen in the past are marked. So just like a visual novel, you can see what you've picked beforehand, so you can pick the other route if you wanted to, or stick to the same one.
Always good.
Yeah. Save data. Automatically, your shop inventories are moved over to New Game Plus. Any outfits you've unlocked, which I didn't know there were outfits that you could unlock, so I don't know what it's referring to. The only ones I'm aware of are the DLC that you have to buy. Accessories, those will move over as well. However, your characters will start with their default, and then as soon as you can get into the menu, you can swap them to whatever they had before.
Oh, okay.
Data on defeated enemies you keep. Data on consumed meals you get to keep.
Wow.
Things that you get to choose if they come over or not. You can choose if you keep your character levels, your comp upgrades, the auto mapping, your money, your Mystic Quartz, your items, your Mystic Hues, your Demon Compendium, and any unlocked fusions.
Wow, geez.
So
okay.
Any of those last ones, you can choose if you want to bring those with you or not.
That's cool.
So, really fun game.
Yeah. I gotta dive back in there. I was enjoying it while I was playing it. I gotta stick with it.
That was kind of I had gotten to a point where I just went back and just spent a day doing like requests, and I still haven't completed all of them because there's like a ton of personal and ton of just regular quests that you get from the club that I haven't completed.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this game.
Nice.
And it also helps that it wasn't like a $70 game as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, Soul Hackers 2. It's worth beating.
Nice. Nice. Just on easy.
Yeah. Well, and I might go back to hard too, because I'm guessing there is a trophy for beating the final boss on hard, and that has got to be like some SMT3 kick in the teeth stuff.
Yeah, like you got to be over leveled. You have to like min max all of your demons and everything. Yeah.
Oh, and then one more thing, and then I'm done. The Story Quest DLC that I had talked about when I first bought the game.
Oh yeah.
From what I am hearing, you don't need that for anything. It introduces a new character, which is fine. However, you don't get that character outside of the dungeon that they did not come with for the DLC.
So it's not like a new party member permanently.
Yeah, and you don't control them. They are just a guest character from what I'm hearing. And when you complete your turn with your main characters, the guest character will come in and do whatever attack they're going to do. And then that's it. You don't control them or anything. I hear that a lot of people like that DLC character, and this DLC story seems to be all right, but not like $10 day one DLC worth it.
Yeah.
So if I might pick it up down the road whenever it goes on sale. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I really enjoyed Soul Hackers 2. It is a good game.
Nice. The only game I have played this week is 2 Point Campus. I have platinumed it. I am 100% done with it. the
Was that your 45th, 47th platinum?
I think 47th was what I wrote this morning. 47th, 48th. I wasn't really expecting for some of these campuses to be as easy as they were, especially the music campus and the party campus. Those turned out to just be, you need to streamline these campuses as much as humanly possible, and then like trim every millimeter of fat off of this campus, and then you will be successful in the end. So I'm happy that none of those were super long. Some of them, especially the party campus, was just kind of like, all right, I have this well-oiled machine running. I'm just gonna let it do its thing while I'm like watching a movie on the other TV or something, and I'll just check in every year and say, "Yep, campus is still going great." I'm sure there's something I could do to accelerate some of that stuff, but once you kind of get it in a good position, it's like, well, I need to make a lot of these numbers go up to get my second or third star, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. I, of course. So by the time I got 3 stars on every campus, I of course had the one trophy left that I knew I was going to have left, which was train staff members to level 5 in every course, which is fine, but the trophy tracks your progress, but it only tracks it like a number out of 17. So it's like, you did 14 out of 17. It's like, well, okay, now I don't know which ones I didn't do.
Which one is which?
Right,
Yeah.
so off to Sandbox Mode. Give them a ton of credit. Number 1, Sandbox Mode is built in this time, which is great. But number 2, you can change any variable you want in Sandbox Mode. So like the first screen is like, how much money do you want to start with? I put that all the way to the side, where it's like, I'm starting with $5 million. Income multiplier, how many course points you have, because every time you want to upgrade a course or start a new course, you need to spend course points. But then the next screen gets into the kind of the nitty gritty of like, do you want all of your research stuff unlocked at the beginning, or do you want to research it? Do you want to build all the buildings in your campus, or do you want us to give those to you immediately? Like, do you want all of the optional stuff that you need to unlock with the kind of in-game currency? Do you want all that stuff just out of hand, or do you want to unlock all that stuff? Which made it really easy to go into one of these campuses and just say, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to have all the buildings, I'm going to build what I need for this one specific course. I'm going to level the course up immediately for as much as I need to get level 5 training requirements. I'm going to build a functionally working, technically campus, and I'm going to train. And I think I did at about halfway through each, like the list of the 17 courses, and it finally popped for me. I think my final one was the virtual reality one. I think that was the very final one I needed. So I sincerely appreciate them for building that in there and allowing you to get trophies in Sandbox Mode, which I know a lot of developers wouldn't, where it's like, well, you gotta get the trophies, the legitimate way. You gotta do it. And they're like, yeah, man, who cares? Let's like, that's part of what I want out of
your imaginary currency. Yeah, that's what we all want.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for like a game I spent $40 on. Like, let me break the game, please.
A single player game that you spent your $40 on. Like, you're not messing it up for anybody else.
Right. There is co-op in there, but I haven't tried it out yet. But I do really appreciate them having them there, because like the best thing to do when you have finished something like The Sims or any other kind of god game or management game like this, I want to go in and I want to break it. Like, I want to give myself a bajillion dollars and everything. I want to build the biggest, craziest campus on the planet. And I'm like, every month, every time I would finish a month, they'd be like, "Congratulations, you got $15 million in income this month." And I was like, "Yeah, I did. This place is great."
Build the best thing ever, and then hit the hazard button and see
That's right.
what blows it all up.
You know,
then
the
reload
other
that
thing
save.
that I really like about Sandbox Mode is you can turn off all of those kinds of things, where it's like inspectors coming to campus, like staff requests, student requests, stuff like that. You can just turn all of that stuff off too, which is really great. Or keep them all on and just be chaotic. But I really appreciate that they kept that in and they weren't, kind of like weird and gatekeepy about trophies and stuff. So, because I would have done it another way and would have been fine, but it would have been, instead of doing like 10 minutes per course, I've been like, all right, I'm playing this game for a couple more hours and probably coming out of it hating it. But like 2 Point Campus, it's real good. It's on Game Pass. Highly recommended. Even if you didn't play 2 Point Hospital, I think you might. Campus probably has a little bit of a better tutorial anyway.
I think so, yeah.
Ouch. So I would recommend 2 Point Campus a whole lot. And once you get into 2 Point Campus, if you like it, Hospital is also really good. And you'll probably take a lot of the knowledge from Campus over to Hospital and do pretty well.
Yep.
But that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep. We got only a small news section, right?
Yeah, just a
no, nothing major.
Just nothing at all.
I mean, we got to talk about what the Brits call cookies on their websites.
That's right. Find that and more on the Outcast. Oh man. Okay. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
No. Yes. Maybe.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of September 19th, 2022. Hard Space Shipbreaker comes out on PS5 and Series consoles. It's Game Pass day and date.
That is such an awesome game.
Yeah. You guys have probably seen this already, but this is the kind of capitalist nightmare future game where it's a puzzle game where you're taking apart like derelict spaceships and trying to recover all the good bits and kind of get yourself out of debt. It looks really cool. I hope it runs well on consoles because it really seems like one of those games that can do well on Game Pass, where it's like, oh, you have Game Pass, try this thing out. It's really cool.
Yep.
So that's Hard Space Shipbreaker. Next up, Jack Move. This is that kind of cool RPG cyberpunk internet game we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that's coming out PS4, Xbox One, and Switch this week. I think it got pushed a little bit, and now it's coming to some other stuff. So go check that out. Looks neat. Solstice, Soul-Stice, comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. It's a Souls-like, and it looks pretty cool actually. Has a really cool art style. So I would recommend that. I feel like if say it's a Souls-like, it's just like roguelikes. Like, you're into it or you're not. So if you're like, oh, no thanks. No, not Souls-like.
Yeah, but you also said Souls-like, so now I'm just going to check it out and see what it is.
That's right.
I thought it was something else.
Yeah. Hey, he's a man that knows he likes some Souls-likes.
I don't have time for it.
Well, that's
I don't have time to be that angry right now.
That's also true. Next game here is No Place for Bravery, comes out on Switch and PC. It's kind of a neat, very gory 2D pixel art, isometric-y, roguelike Viking beat-em-up thing. It has that kind of cool, distinctive pixel art style that I like, but maybe is a little bit divisive. But No Place for Bravery looks pretty neat. Serial Cleaners comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series console, Switch, and PC. This is a sort of top-down stealth game where you're cleaning up murder sites for the mafia and trying to do so quietly.
Like a dead body cleanup game.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun, pretty tongue-in-cheek, and it looks like it's a kind of neat thing.
Shadow Warrior 2 that had the cleaning crew mod that was the exact same thing, where you go back through the levels and clean up all the dead bodies.
They eventually spun that out into another game. Viscera Cleanup Crew.
Cleanup.
Yeah, that was cool.
Become its own thing.
Yeah, well, just check out Serial Cleaners.
The cleaning crew simulator.
Right. Yeah. Session Skate Sim. Got it. Comes out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and PC. I'm also assuming it's going to come out for series consoles, but it doesn't explicitly call it out here. This used to just be called Session. This is if you liked the skate games, seems like this is very much a spiritual successor of that. I'm sure someone super deep into those communities are like, well, and I get it, but from the outside perspective, this sure does look like another skate game, which is great because EA is still working on Skate period. I was going to say Skate 4, but now it's just Skate.
Yep.
It's in the game.
Hey, we were promised Skate 3000 in Dead Space 2. I remember.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. It's a couple more years for that. Slime Rancher 2 comes out on series consoles and PC. I have not been able to find if this is an early access sort of deal.
It is.
Okay. I suspected, since it's only coming out on series consoles and PC, that's usually where early access stuff comes out.
Yeah, I didn't know that the game was coming out this month, but looked it up, and yes, it does say it's preview edition or preview access or whatever they're calling it on Game Pass.
Microsoft calls it, yeah. So Slime Rancher 2 out in early access / preview business. Go check it out. More slimes to plorp and plop and ranch, and all the other Slime Rancher verbs. That's the good stuff.
Yep.
The Dio Field Chronicle, which is not a JoJo's Adventure game, it's a Square Enix RPG. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. There's a demo out now. People seem to really, really like this demo.
Yes.
It is a real-time strategy sort of game. Finally found the game that this reminded me of, which is Lord of Vermilion. For the two people that tingles something in your brain about a game you loved, Dio Field Chronicle is exactly like that. So it seems really cool. I've been meaning to try out the demo, and I have not had the time to try out either this or the Valkyrie Elysium.
Yep.
Everyone seems to really dig that demo too.
I know, and it sucks that these are coming out back to back.
Yeah, it's real rough. Also, a lot of people on the internet being like, boy, demos are doing really well for Square Enix. I wonder why that is. And I was like, because people want to try a game for free. Put out more demos, please. Cough, 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 cough. So that's the Dio Field Chronicle coming out this week. Last but certainly not least, Shovel Knight Dig coming out for Switch, PC, and iOS, which is like the most cursed combination of platforms in the history. This is, if you haven't seen Shovel Knight Dig, it is a kind of procedurally generated Shovel Knight roguelike, where they have kind of, instead of you traversing a traditional level, they have kind of these small room chunks that you're traversing as you go down this kind of almost Mr. Driller sort of thing. It looks real cool. I completely forgot about this because I feel like they announced it a couple years ago, and it was like, yeah, we're working on it. Don't worry about it. My brain was just like, yep, don't worry about it. Not even
don't think about
out.
it. Don't do nothing.
That's right. And now it's coming out, and I will have to figure out on some sort of platform to play it on. Boy, nice. All right. Oh God, news stories. Okay. We have like 3 conferences, and then the industry decided to go bonkers this week. So we also have a whole bunch of that stuff. So let's just start off with, we're going to talk about this just a little bit, but there's a breaking and developing news story here that the hacker, the person who's claiming to be behind the recent Uber hack, decided to release 90, that's 90, video clips from an in-development version of GTA 6. Looking at a lot of that stuff, they looked pretty accurate. it's not one of those things where it's like, I just downloaded Unreal Engine 5 and I'm going to make GTA 6. Wink.
There's enough technical things that you can see that if this is made up or fake, someone put a lot of time in making this either way. So.
And there's a lot of clips that are like, they're very clearly testing like AI routines and combat stuff, and that stuff looks pretty solid. So you can watch a couple of those clips and be like, oh, this is probably actually fairly legitimate. If not, somebody's probably making their own game and are pretty deep into it. Yeah. Jason Schreier of Bloomberg says that his contacts from Rockstar confirmed this leak is legitimate. That's not, of course, official because Rockstar is not saying something. Also, because it's the weekend.
The hacker this happened Friday night? Like, it was released
late Friday. Like pretty late Friday night. The hacker, once they woke up, is now saying that they're surprised these clips have, quote, gone unexpectedly viral, end quote, which LOL, and now wants to cut a deal with Rockstar, double LOL. So there are...
What deal? You're going to jail, bro.
Yeah.
This is Rockstar and Take-Two.
Unless you're going to try to gray hat this and be like, I can show you what I did so you can beef up your system.
And they will say, thanks, comma, go to jail.
Yeah.
They'll send you to jail a little bit nicer. I think this is a story, even if you don't, I don't care about GTA 6, I don't care about Rockstar.
I don't either.
But I think this is a story to watch and be careful of, because I'm not sure if you guys remember Half-Life 2's leak like a couple days before launch, where it's like, here's all the source code. It's like, oh no. This is on that same level. I don't know if the source code is out there. So just to clarify,
there was kind of rumored news that this is old, like either a couple years, a couple months old.
Oh, sure. So yeah, I would sort of expect that.
Yeah, it's not what they're working on right now.
Right. Also, for anybody that is watching these clips and maybe don't know about software development or game development, this is what games look like before they are done. So
yeah, seriously, people
will be like, this looks ugly. It's like, it's in development. It's a lot of gray boxes in gray rooms. Like,
have you never seen what a storyboard looks like?
That's right.
No, they haven't. I jumped into the Discourse on this on Twitter today.
Mm-hmm.
My response was pretty much, this will only, like, people are lamenting the fact that this is how you don't get transparency from devs, and it's like, no, we will get transparency from devs. We do, for smaller indie games or small studios, where the people who are interested in that game are the people who want to know stuff like that, and the people who understand that video game development is
the teams that work with NoClip to make documentaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, people like that. Whereas John Q, Street Fighter fan, is not going to care about that. He only cares about the final product, and he sees something that's pre-alpha, assumes it's the final product, and throws a hissy fit online.
And says GTA 6 is going to suck. What? First going woke, and now this. Like, it's just going to be like
5 years off.
That is the funniest thing that I've seen, too. It's like, oh, yeah, they're going woke because you're playing as a female character now. It's like, dude,
heaven forbid.
He or she or it is still going around the city with a rocket launcher blowing up everything.
Yeah, you can still drive a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my only concern, sort of industry-wide and long-term, is I am concerned for the long-term effects for those that are working on GTA. We have seen historically that Rockstar especially and Take-Two are not the kindest bosses to work for, allegedly. So I think I'm worried that this will put the people that are working on GTA 6, who are probably already working under crunch conditions, probably have been for the last couple of years, no matter what Rockstar and Take-Two have said. I'm worried that the noose will kind of tighten for them, and I'm concerned that for not only this studio, but other AAA studios, that even if this didn't get leaked from somebody who's working at home, I'm worried that the push to get back into the office to tighten that security will be something that's going to be pushed. It's like, well, we can't be like GTA 6. We can't show off our game this early. Look, it's all these gray boxes, and look at how all these right-wing YouTubers are freaking out about gray boxes and gray rooms. Like, I'm a little bit worried that the after effects of this will be sort of far-reaching, and I'm hoping that's not the case, but that happens when games of this magnitude leak. So
there's going to be a fun directors meeting Monday with InfoSec.
Yes, I'm from a technology perspective, I'm very curious to find out if we ever find out what happened, like where did this stuff get sourced from, if it is legitimate. But we will see over time, because this story is kind of happening very quickly. So I didn't check up on it again here before we started recording this segment. So I'm sure something else has changed at this point.
The last big thing I heard today was that the hacker just completely went silent.
Probably a good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. The best thing you do is just disappear from the internet, go live in the woods.
I was going to say, yeah, delete yourself from the internet immediately.
That's right.
Please.
Take two's coming. All right, let's move on to our next story of, oh god, Sony. PSVR games will not work on the PlayStation VR 2. The Senior Vice President of Platform Experience at PlayStation, Hideaki Nishino, was on the recent episode of the official PlayStation podcast and confirmed that that's the case. And I just, let's be honest. I'm not super surprised that this is the case. This has been Sony's MO since the PlayStation 3, and they don't really care. What I get really frustrated about is the Sony marketing BS of, like, they said, quote, PSVR games are not compatible with PSVR 2 because PSVR 2 is designed to deliver a truly next-generation VR experience, end quote. Thankfully, he continues later by saying there's compatibility differences because of the different controllers. The adaptive triggers on the controllers are causing issues. The inside-out tracking on the headset, the eye tracking, like all of the new technology in the PSVR 2 headset seems to be causing issues with porting over PSVR games kind of out of hand.
Yeah, I was going to say with directly porting, because that's what they should have said at the beginning was like, hey guys, remember the PSVR released for the PlayStation 4? It's using Move controllers from the PlayStation 3 era. Like, literally the exact same controller.
We're trying to make a better experience.
A one-to-one move. Yeah, they're going to have to re-release a PSVR 2 version of that game.
Right. And
that's what they should have said.
The frustrating part is I feel like Sony never sees this coming. Like, they're like, well, of course PSVR games wouldn't work on 2. And everyone's like, why the hell not? Like, what are you even talking about? And they're like, why is everyone angry?
Dude, they 100% see it coming. They just believe their marketing machine can deal with it.
Yeah, and I think every time their marketing machine is like, wait, why is everyone angry? Why are you yelling at me? Don't throw stuff at me. And they're like, man.
We do not value old generation games. We do not believe that people buy Sony.
Why would anyone play PS1 and PS2 games? Yeah, like it's that same thing.
Let me introduce you to PlayStation Plus Platinum, where you can play all of your old games.
PlayStation Plus
talking to us about handhelds. We've never released a handheld.
That's right. Why would we make a handheld? Gosh, that's so silly. So it's another one of those things of like, I get where they're coming from. Once they actually talk about the reality of it, of like, we're making a big leap between the two pieces of hardware, so we can't just, it's not like from the DualShock 4 to the DualSense. That's still a controller. Yeah, PS4 games work just the same. I get where they're coming at. You just gotta get out in front of the story for once, Sony, and just say, like, don't just give us a marketing of, like, it's a next generation VR experience, and just be like, man, it doesn't work because we, like, changed everything. Like, and I'm sure that most people, like Team Asobi, will probably come out with a PSVR 2 version of Astrobot's Rescue Mission. And I'm sure they'll come out with like a remastered version. It'll be in 4K.
I was going to say, it's probably going to come with its own PSVR version of it with all the remasters of the other 2 games that have come out. So.
And I'm sure like popular games like Moss and Moss Book 2 will probably get PSVR 2 versions eventually. And probably that's about it. So at the end of the day, as a small silver lining we shouldn't have to deal with in the first place, it's probably not a big deal for 99.9% of people that own PlayStation platforms.
Because
you literally named the 2 VR games that people know.
And nobody owns the headset to begin with because it's still $250. Oh my God.
You forgot this also gives them the opportunity to charge $80 a game because it's a next-gen VR experience.
That's right. Well, it can't just be $70.
You better hope it's $80 a game.
Right, yeah. God, yeah. Also, friendly reminder, and this is not against Moon, Sony didn't start that pricing, by the way. Everyone thinks they did. Yeah, Activision did. Activision was like $70. You guys are going to buy this thing for $70? Yeah, sure. We're going to sell them all for $70.
I don't know why that started all of a sudden. Because, that was definitely a third-party
next gen budgets are so high. They just...
Yeah. Minor spoiler alert, Activision are also the same people who went from 50 to 60. Just so you remember. That was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, specifically on the PC, that caused that problem.
Yep.
And that's why you do what I do, and unless it's a game you really want, you wait for it to go on sale.
Yep, especially as the holidays approach. Cough, cough,
cough. Yeah, exactly. Black Friday's coming up, man. There's going to be a bunch of bargain bin stuff for you to get.
And Sony and Microsoft have been doing really great sales multiple times per year. So it's not even like, Sony's never going to put this stuff on sale. Like, because that was the PS4 era, was Sony's like, I'm not digital games on sale. What are you smoking? People don't do that. And Microsoft's like, it's half off, 25% off. It's free. Let's go. So thankfully Sony has finally caught up, 20 years after the fact. All right, let's talk about, as if the first 2 news stories weren't wild enough. Let's talk about EVGA getting out of the GPU market. Easily one of the most bonkers news stories of this year. The EVGA CEO went out there and said, we're done dealing with NVIDIA, so we're not going to make graphics cards anymore. So
NVIDIA equals Sony.
I guess sort of. Well, we'll talk about what NVIDIA is doing here in a minute, but EVGA is easily NVIDIA's largest partner. GPUs make up 80% of sales for EVGA. That's like the thing they make. They also make like a couple of peripherals here and there, but not anything to the level of video cards that they sell. And they just said, like, yeah, man, we're done. We're not even switching over to ATI or AMD or anything. Like, we're done. We're sick of dealing with it. We're breaking up with NVIDIA and we're moving out.
It's crazy to completely change what you do.
Here's the biggest thing. They're not even changing what they're doing. They're just cutting off. They're setting their video card market off into an ice flow and pushing it out in the ocean and being like, well, we're just gonna do all the other stuff now. And it's like you need to fill in that with something else. You want to start building PCs now or something?
I was like, make your own graphics card. You obviously have the equipment for
it. Do you think maybe they might be thinking about potentially partnering with AMD?
No, I don't think so, because they pretty clearly said, like, we're not even doing that. We're just getting out of video cards. And what seems to be the thing that was really making EVGA mad was that it's a couple of they're saying it's a couple of combined issues, that NVIDIA wasn't sharing essential product information with partners until they shared it publicly with like the press and fans. So like NVIDIA is like, here's brand new video cards, and EVGA is like, oh, there are? Oh, you're coming out. Okay, cool. There's a brand new line of video cards. Okay, well, I guess we gotta start working on that then. All right. And they said often they're doing that on stage at a press conference, and EVGA is like at the office being like, oh, cool. All right, well, let's just start designing these things, I guess. And they got frustrated with NVIDIA. They felt like NVIDIA was undercutting their partners by selling their own Founders Edition cards at a lower price. So, if anyone hasn't really been following this, I'd be surprised with cryptocurrency and everything. NVIDIA, like the first wave of their brand new cards are Founders Edition cards that are usually like souped up a little bit, and they're kind of cheaper than you would expect them to be for more powerful brand new cards. But they weren't really letting EVGA sell their cards for a lower price than these like cool marketed super powerful Founders Editions cards. So EVGA is like, well, these brand new cards are coming out of the gate and nobody wants our cards because you're undercutting us by selling these other like souped up ones. And they said they felt overall that NVIDIA just didn't value their patronage, which is wild since, again, EVGA was easily NVIDIA's largest partner. And like, I have an EVGA card, I have like a 3070 in this machine or something. And like, EVGA is like the video card brand to buy. Their support is great. Their sales are great. Their cards don't die, or like you fire up a brand new game and it just snaps in half. Like, it really has no problems with that. There were some issues with, gosh, what game was that was like causing issues with the 3090s, and EVGA is like, we'll just send you a new one. It broke.
Oh,
that was
the one that would melt it.
Yeah, and it was like the main menu for the game was running at like 250 frames per second. It was just 3090s were having an issue, and
EVGA, like Pillars of Eternity 2 or something. It was like something that was like an RPG,
right? And it was just like, why is this causing issue? Or like WoW Classic or something like that. And EVGA was like, we manufactured those incorrectly. Here's a new card. It's like, great. That's literally all you need to do for these crazy powerful cards.
I heard that they really helped out with DOAs.
Yeah, they were really good. Yeah,
it sucked that you got one, but they were really good about getting you a replacement.
Yeah,
especially because that was around the time too where the market went crazy and you couldn't find a replacement.
Right. Yeah, like a lot of these streamers and YouTubers were like, "Well, I have a dead 3090, and I definitely cannot go get another one." So EVGA said they're going to continue to sell the RTX 3000 series cards. They're probably going to run out of stock by the end of the year, and they're going to hang on to additional stock for warranties and repairs and stuff like that. And if you own a current one, they're going to honor warranties and keep taking care of existing customers. But they're done, which is wild. It's just like,
I wonder if that has to do too with, because Congress passed that bill for tech companies where they would get funding or something.
Oh, right. What was that about?
It was something about
the details,
because I know that there was another one recently about how the government is preventing them from selling to China and all that. But it was something about how they were getting grants or something, and there was a lot of issues where I'm pretty sure NVIDIA was one of them where they laid off a bunch of people, and then like their C-level execs were posting like $200 bonus increases and stuff, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's an absolutely wild news story, and I feel like that's probably going to be one of the craziest news stories of the year, easily.
Yeah.
Real quick news story here. The Sims 4 goes free to play on October 18th. So if you've ever wanted to play The Sims 4, the base game with no DLC will be going free to play. Of course, the trolls coming out of the woodwork saying like, well, of course it is, because there's only $1,000 of DLC. If you buy all that DLC all at once, you are a fool. That will be a miserable experience to play The Sims 4. That is not the intended way to play that game.
How do you like tutorial bubbles? Because we've got 70.
That's right. We got 2 hours of tutorial bubbles. And I think the rumor mill is sort of churning now because the rumors are saying like, well, they're announcing this because fairly soon they're going to announce The Sims 5, which... yes, please. I would like to play that. That would be great. So, if you haven't ever played The Sims 4...
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that a successful game...
from EA?
from EA is getting a sequel?
It's wild, I know. Yeah, once the spreadsheet
This would revolutionize the market, dude.
I know. We can make another one of those. I should learn something from Game Dev Story. But yeah, it's one of those things where like the spreadsheet ticked over from green to red, and they're like, free to play time. Yeah. Let's go do this.
DLC sales are down. Time to release a new game.
Yeah, and honestly, if you haven't played The Sims 4 before, it's really, really good. Even just the base game by itself. They've done so much work over the years to improve it, and they've put out a ton of patches. Just put out another giant one like this week. It is a legitimately really great game, and if you can play it for free, that's even better.
My only hope is that they put more into building.
Oh, like for like a Sims 5.
Where you can get like the fine detail, because that's what my wife loves about the game. Yeah. That's the only reason why I have the Origin client on my PC, right. Is so that she can play 700 hours of Sims.
Right. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what a Sims 5 would look like, especially since the tail on the Sims 4 has been so long. But I will probably be there day one, and very excited about it.
Something tells me that you make somebody and then you control them.
That would be that big if true, as the kids say.
They speak English this time.
That's just, yeah. That's the big thing. Is like, yo, what's up? I'm a Sim.
That pushes it over. Yeah,
that's right. Oh man. All right, let's talk about one of the big news stories here. Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct this week, which is usually us talking about 2 or 3 games. No, we got 17 here. Let's start off with Fire Emblem Engage. They're kind of back to their kind of standard grid-based thing again here with, the 2 units run into each other on Battlefield. They have that really cool side-by-side clashing sort of thing.
They spent 20 minutes getting ready to do a critical, and then they actually hit something.
That's right. Seems like there's some sort of summoning mechanic in this one, as far as I can tell. The details, with the rings, the details here are fairly thin, as they kind of usually are for a direct. That's usually not the point of it. But I don't know. It looks cool. I'm excited. There's another Fire Emblem game that is coming out that I would love to play, and probably won't, because I love these games and I never play them. I don't know what's wrong with me. So. Go play Fire Emblem Engage. It looks pretty good. Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is coming out early 2023 on Switch. This is the Fatal Frame game that came out on Wii in Japan, but not here. So it's very exciting that I think this is the last one that never came out over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they got the other ones at least on Steam so far. I don't know if they're on console, but they did a mad push with those, because all of a sudden it's like the last couple of years, they're like, hey, Fatal Frame, remember the first one?
The spooky picture one. Here's a bunch of them. It's like, oh wow, okay, sure, yeah, let's put out more of those.
They were fun games.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're terrifying as hell the first time.
Gosh, yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, they were showing Expansion Pass Wave 2, which is it's a really great term. Bringing Ino, a new character, and challenge battles. What do you think of this Wave 2, Nimp?
Looks really cool, and I'm excited. The challenge battles looks to be what was in the first, or at least in the second game. I think they added it in the second game too, where you just go into an arena, fight things, and you unlock stuff.
Oh, cool.
I know that there was talk about you can unlock swimsuit outfits for all of your characters.
Of course,
through the challenge
it's
arena.
a JRPG, so sure.
Yeah. The new character, I'm not going to get into her. She's not really a spoiler, but she is very reminiscent of a type of character in the first Xenoblade game.
Oh, okay.
Which is really cool. So
yeah, that's cool. I just want to talk about this because this is a wild idea. Fitness boxing of the North Star.
Yes.
It's a rhythm fighting game based on the classic manga/anime, which...
Well, fitness boxing already exists. I think this is DLC for
it. They're billing this as a brand new game, which is even more wild. Yeah, It's just... And they're like, hey, you like Fist of the North Star, right? Where you punch people, they explode, it's really violent. How about fitness boxing? It's like, I respect it. It's funny, and I think it's a real thing. So, okay, sure, why not?
I can't wait till it does the Wii Fit stuff, and it's like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? So on and so forth, and then when you enter all that information, it just says you're already dead. That's going to be quality.
You are too old to play this game.
That's right. It's real good reference. Tunic is coming out September 22nd on the Switch. You should play that. It's really good. Cute fox on a big adventure. It's real good. Looking forward to playing that on PS5 again here in like a week or so. Front Mission 1 and 2 remakes. The first one is coming out in November. The second one is coming out next year. Both of those look really good. I really like those first two Front Mission games. And they announced that they are doing a remake of the third one for sometime in the future. Front Mission 3 is also really good. So if you like strategy RPGs with mechs, all three of these are real good.
Not mechs. Wanzers.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. These games are super cool. I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do with these. Usually Square's remakes are okay. It's just the remasters that they drop the ball on, which we'll talk about someone not dropping the ball on some remasters here in a little bit. Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life is coming out September 2023. This is the remaster of the GameCube game, which I remember a lot of people liking. And it seems like they're going to add a whole bunch of new content to this. Looks like there's going to be some new characters and some new story stuff in here. So,
I'm sure we probably mentioned it on the show, but when did I miss the drama that means they don't say Harvest Moon anymore?
So
that was years ago.
Yeah, the original developers behind Harvest Moon split off from Natsume, I believe was the original company.
So, yeah.
And they left, and they're like, well, we're going to go make Harvest Moon. And Natsume was like, well, not with the name you're not. And they're like, okay, cool. We're going to make Story of Seasons. And Natsume was like, that's fine. Good luck. And so that team started doing Story of Seasons, which continues to be really good. Like, that's the series you want to play. And Harvest Moon has continued at the publisher and continued to not be great and not the thing you want to play. And Natsume has not figured out to just stop making them, honestly.
But it also doesn't help when you factor in Ruin Factory, which people always get confused with Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of them right now. Yeah. Square came on to announce Octopath Traveler 2, which is honestly genuinely surprising. It features a day-night cycle this time, and if anyone didn't play the first game, essentially each character had actions you could do in the town maps or the overworld, things you could do to interact with people, like, oh, I'm going to fight them, I'm going to steal from them, I'm going to talk to them and try and get them to do something.
Add them to my party as like a one-off thing that
stuff
I can
like
use in a battle.
Those actions will be different between the two times of day. So you'll have one action during the daytime and one action during the nighttime. So that's kind of a little bit neat. And unlike the first one, sort of resolving one of the larger issues that people, including myself, had, some of the stories of the characters will intersect with each other this time. Because one of the frustrations of the first one was you had 8 kind of separate stories that really didn't crisscross over with each other.
I hope they also diversify the skills that each character has, because it's not really a big thing, but the first one, you had basically 2 characters that had the exact same skill. They were just called something else.
Right.
And I kind of understand character instead of another one. You had access to that type of skill, but once you have all 8 of them, it's like, why am I using you?
Right, why am I using 2 swords people when they're the same?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
A friend of the show, Green Cap, tweeted this earlier. I feel like we've got to give him a shout out for it.
Yeah.
Why is this game not named Octopath Traveler?
Yeah.
Because they can't name things. It's never Square that comes out with the cool names.
No, it's always Square.
If this was EA.
Right. And it's always Square that comes out with a name where it's like Various Day Life. That's a game we sell. And it's like, what?
You get the long ones like Harvestera.
Yeah, why? Okay. Really weird.
Forsaken. And the best part about Square is they also never really tell unless you're paying attention, the wider audience generally doesn't know the difference. So Forspoken for the longest time, people thought was Final Fantasy 16.
Yes, very much so.
Because it looked almost exactly the same.
Yeah, Square. Next up is Faye Farm. That's all one word. It's kind of a magical Stardew Valley-like. You can play with 4 people locally or online, which is really nice. It's going to come out spring 2023. Looks pretty cool.
Guess what? There's a lot of farming simulators in this game.
Yeah,
I know, it's very exciting.
It's the
Stardew.
Nice. It's that thing where
It's,
you see a game come out and then like 5 to 6 years later, all of the clones hit.
Yeah,
just hit that for Stardew /
It's very exciting.
Farm something.
Yep. It's really. I want more people to play games.
Well,
people really like farming games, so like let's bring it on.
It would be one thing if you're like, okay, most of these games look like they're gonna suck, but the vast majority of these look like they're gonna be really good.
Yep. Yeah, they look really good.
And I don't have time for a day-night cycle that's tied to your console
system
clock.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah, did they not learn that lesson from previous Pokemon games?
Apparently not, no. Next game here, Theater Rhythm, Final Bar Line, which was 100% sure we were never going to see another one of these games again, and I cannot tell you how excited I am that they're coming out with another one of these. 385 songs from across the entire Final Fantasy series, this time in just the base game itself. 385 songs. They're also going to sell a DLC pack of 90 songs from other Square series like Nier, Chrono Trigger, Legend of Mana, etc.
Holy hell.
I'm so excited.
How much do you think that DLC is going to be, man?
Oh, it's probably going to be like $30.
I was going to say, how much do you think they could charge that people would still buy it?
Probably
100.
I think the base game is
$40.
Yeah. Which seems very fair. So
can we just talk about how like the videos for the games are playing in the background of the
I love Theater Rhythm so much. These games are so good. I cannot wait to figure out where this is going to come out and buy this. I really love these games. I'm very curious to see what's going to come out on, because the last time I played it was on my 3DS and I used the touchscreen, and I know you can do non-touchscreen controls, but I'm not sure how those work. So very curious. Also, James Bond showed up, GoldenEye 007, the like worst kept secret for what felt like the last 10 years, coming to Nintendo Switch Online. This is also coming to Game Pass. I know that there is multiplayer on the Nintendo Switch Online version because of some emulator weirdness that's going on that is not on the Xbox version. Yep. Don't shoot the messenger. Everybody knows it sucks, and apparently Rare cannot do anything about it. So it seems like one of those things where it's like, we got the smallest window of opportunity for the rights for this thing. Just, it's going to come out. It's going to have local multiplayer, and just, that's what we could do. Sorry. Please go buy it.
Dude, I don't care. I still want to know if almost 40-year-old me can do that facility level in 3 minutes and 15 seconds to get the invincibility cheat.
I got faith in
that. Is what I want to know.
That's right.
And also, you can grab your Labo and put the little crosshair cardboard divider on your TV screen for the Xbox version, so you people can't.
No cheating.
You can't sneak a peek.
Yeah, there is no release date for this, but I feel like if they're announcing it, it's probably going to come out before the end of the year. If I was going to guess, I'm sure it's just going to show up on one day on the storefronts. Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End, and The Secret Key is coming out February 23rd, 2023.
Make that title longer.
Just keep
adding words.
It's like that Fiona Apple album where it's just the poem for the album title.
I know we probably don't want to rewind it all here, but it is worth mentioning GoldenEye was released on the 13th of November.
Is that their release date?
That's the movie release date, yes.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so, yeah, they're probably... check the stores around then,
and
if I was going to
August and November for the video game in 1997. I'm pretty sure that makes this the 25th anniversary or something like that.
I think it is, yeah. Yeah. Goodness. Next up, Nintendo announced Pikmin 4. a series I was also sure was never going to get another one.
Well, hang on. They announced Pikmin Mobile, and then everybody got mad, and then they announced Pikmin 4 right after.
It's not even that they announced Pikmin Mobile. They, for some reason, were showing Pikmin on the mobile on the stream, which has been out for more than a year and a half.
Oh, yeah,
So people are like, why are you showing Pikmin Bloom? Like, no one is playing that. It's not... And then like, oh, by the way, one more thing. Here's Pikmin 4 coming next year. So, a little bit better. Nintendo promises that Pikmin 4 will be easier to play and will have a strategic focus. So I think that's kind of all you want out of Pikmin 4. That's literally the only information we know about it at the moment. So who knows? Square showed off Harvestella. There's a demo out now, and the game releases November 4th. From what I'm hearing, Scuttlebutt is that the demo seems to be a pretty good chunk of that game, so you can get a pretty good impression of that. They're like end of the world farming simulator, which
sounds really good.
Looks pretty interesting. I'm very, very curious about that.
It's also coming out on Steam, which also has a demo, but it's only those two. It's not coming out on anything else currently. It's just Nintendo and Steam.
Oh, weird, because I thought that was coming out on other stuff. Interesting. Usually it's everything except for Xbox platforms, because Square is like, Microsoft, who? What? Who? Huh? Except for Kingdom Hearts 3, in a weird way. Next game here, Master Detective Archives Rain Code, which is genuinely the full title for that. The Danganronpa team is back, this time with a spooky detective RPG. So I guess I'll be buying that when it comes out, because all of that is checking a lot of boxes for me. Tales of Symphonia Remastered comes out early 2023.
That was a random shadow drop.
Yeah, I'm excited because Tales of Symphonia is one of the few Tales games that I haven't played. And I know everybody's like, this is one of the ones. Like, this and Abyss are like the ones that people really love from kind of the earlier Tales games. So I'm excited to play that. That game, I know I've heard that game is supposed to be pretty good. So hopefully
I hope they fix the camera, because on the original, like it's on the world map, it's like real snug on you. So,
yeah. Fingers crossed.
But I did double check. Harvestella is only coming out to Steam and Switch as of right now. So,
oh my God, Square! Just the wrong decisions at every turn. Girl, what is you doing? And last but not least, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom comes out May 12th, 2023. They put out a trailer for this. It's Breath of the Wild 2. It is coming out May 12th. They usually don't miss a release date, so that's, if you want to set aside some vacation time, that's probably safe to do so. Don't be mad at me if the game gets delayed, yada, yada, yada. Miyamoto didn't say that famous quote, also, by the way, about delayed games. Someone else said that. I don't know. It looks cool. I will probably pick it up and play it, even though I'm not the biggest Breath of the Wild fan. It will probably run real bad on the Switch. So we'll see how.
But maybe we'll get surprised.
Yep.
Yeah, I would. Breath of the Wild ran okay on the Switch, so as long as they don't push that too much further, it should run fine. Saying that, I am now remembering that they are putting a whole nother map in the sky, so maybe
that's what I was going to say. God, hopefully they throw in a loading screen between the two. As much as I would love it not to be, that Switch is going to catch on fire if you jump from the clouds to the ground.
It's going to be real bad, man. Yeah. But I'm not the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild. I think it's fun. I'll probably have fun with this too. I feel like that's kind of one of the games that releases where it's like, yeah, I should probably check that out. It's a big release.
I just want to see if they change any of the systems, because like the weapon degradation was kind of exaggerated to like the nth degree, and the stamina was fine, but it never seemed to fail. That it always rained whenever I wanted to climb something.
God.
So.
Yeah. Grumble. Yeah. All right, that was the surprisingly packed Nintendo Direct. We didn't even talk about everything in that. There was a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuff we've already talked about before. And Sony showed a State of Play, which also was super packed, which is probably the first time they've done that. Tekken 8, they showed off largely kind of like a sizzle reel CG sort of thing. Literally no details otherwise, other than more info coming later.
Yeah. It's a Tekken game. You know what you're getting.
Yeah, like it'll be cool, and the Tekken people are super excited, which makes me happy.
There's already fan art of Tifa being in Tekken 8, of like fan
Right.
creation of it.
Perfect.
And I'm like, man, I would so buy that game.
Yeah, that would be really good. Demio? They pronounced it on stream, and I will never remember the name of this game. It's coming out for PSVR 2 in 2023. I believe this is already on the Oculus store. It's already on some PC VR store. They kind of aim to recreate the experience of a 4-player tabletop RPG. It looks pretty cool. That looks like a cool thing that apparently is very popular on PC. So nice to see more stuff coming to PSVR 2. This is like one of the wildest announcements of this year. Like a Dragon Ishin is coming February 2023. This is a PS3 Yakuza spin-off that takes place in feudal times. And they
That's awesome.
This was one of those games that was 100% guaranteed not to come out over here, because every time anyone talked about it, they're like, this is an impossible to translate game. Like, this is just not going to happen. And the amount of money and time you would have to take to translate this game for the West that doesn't care about Yakuza, it's impossible. But wait, now Yakuza is big.
Yeah.
So
they did get ahead of it and said that there's going to be like no English voice translation.
Yeah, they said
that's perfectly fine.
Subs, not dubs, on this one, which is fine. I mean, it's
that's
pretty,
how it should be anyway.
It's pretty incredible.
That's a rule to life. Come on.
Well, I think it's a real bummer because the dubs on the last couple of Yakuza games have been really good, and I think it has brought more people into the game because they don't have to read the subtitles, and I know a lot of people have trouble reading subtitles in games in general. So it was a good thing that we did have dubs that were really good, and the subs were available there as well. But I totally understand this one where it's like, look, this is not the biggest budget we're going to toss at this game. We're going to translate it. The studio said this is the very first Unreal Engine 4 game they're making. Is this one? So I wonder how much of that is just like, let's try and make that game in this engine. Hey, it worked. All right. And we'll see.
For the 1 second that Majima was in that trailer, he still looked crazy, and I pray that they put in a Majima Everywhere Imperial style.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. The next game here was Pacific Drive, which is like a first-person car exploration action horror thing coming out next year. I think that looks super cool. Those are the kind of like indie games that I really want to try out, where it's like, all right, I have never played a game like this before. The style of this looks really neat, and I appreciate that you guys are like trying something totally new. This is the studio's first game. So wow, go watch a trailer for Pacific Drive. That thing looks pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I like the fact too that your wagon is basically your base.
Yeah, it's a real cool idea. Like this old wood panel station wagon is your kind of rolling headquarters. Yeah, that game's cool. Synduality, SYN Duality, all one word, is a third-person robot combat game coming out next year for PS5 only. Oh man, that game looks pretty cool. This looks very much like a game that I think would have come out on the PS1, where you're like, nobody played this game, but it was super cool and it was trying to do something really different. And I'm kind of curious about that. That looks like a very Japanese robot action game that I think we haven't seen in quite a while. That was followed up by Stellar Blade, which is previously Project Eve. It's coming out next year, PS5 only. That still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't show anything off that was kind of significantly different from what they were showing off when they were calling it Project Eve, but that still looks
I don't know,
neat.
man. It looks like they put way too much time into boob physics in that game. Like, the moment that character turns around, like, what are you guys doing?
What are you rascals doing?
It reminds me a lot of Vanquish. Not so much with the mobility, but it looks a lot like it.
Yeah, like the style of it kind of has that that futuristic kind of thing going on. Yeah. Team Ninja announced Rise of the Ronin coming out 2024, PS5 only. I guess if you wanted the Assassin's Creed Red before it comes out, you got Team Ninja has you covered. That looks pretty cool.
Like Moon said, Ghost of Tsushima came out, and now all of the other
That's
Japanese
right.
games are coming.
That's right. It's been a couple of years. I don't know. This looks kind of neat. Team Ninja's been on kind of an interesting tear lately with a bunch of interesting stuff. So I hope Rise of the Ronin is good, because that there's not a lot of games like that. I think that's why Ghost of Tsushima is so popular. Is like, okay, cool. Like there's not a lot of stuff out here like this.
Yeah.
So, and then they close the show, of course, with God of War Ragnarok coming out this November on PS4 and PS5. I didn't watch this trailer because I'm just going to buy it anyway, so I'm assuming the trailer was really cool and showed off some great stuff.
They're going to have to bone this game pretty hard for me to not spend money on it day one.
Right, like, yeah, there needs to be, like, some preview where it's like it runs at 2 frames a second and everything is in German for some reason. That's the only voice. There's no subtitles. Like,
yeah, if this turned into another Cyberpunk, I would be legitimately angry.
I would be pretty bummed. Yeah, so I'm listen to our show in November when that comes out, because especially for PS5 after Horizon this year. Like, I'm excited for kind of another showpiece for the hardware. Very curious to see what the PS4 version looks like. The PS4 version of Horizon actually turned out to be pretty good. So I'm hoping the PS4 version of this is good, because PS5s and series consoles are getting easier to find, but are no means easy to find. So nice to see this is not a PS5 exclusive, but it's probably one of the last big PS4 games coming out, I'm going to assume, at this point.
It's going to be like God of War 2. It's the last release, and they just cut it off.
That's right. No more. We're done making games. But that was State of Play. We talked about Square earlier, kind of not knowing how to deal with their own remasters. Suikoden 1 and 2 is getting a remaster against all odds. The combo that I thought would never happen. They announced that they're going to come out with a 1 and 2 pack. It has some obnoxiously long subtitle on the end of it, like a Atelier game. I don't know what it is. But they're actually going through and they're kind of upgrading the sprites and redrawing the character portraits and kind of upgrading the screen effects and the environments and stuff. It actually looked pretty good. Like, I'm surprised, because I was expecting it to look like the Tactics Ogre game that's going to come out, where you look at it and you're like, oh, ooh, you made the wrong decision again. But all that I want to do is, if you don't have the original game and you're just kind of porting it over to play it on modern consoles, I just don't want you to do that much to it. I still want them to look like sprites. I don't want them to look like I took a sprite and I just wiped Vaseline on it and I put it in the game. You know, like, no one wants the smoothing filters, genuinely.
Yeah.
So
be real awesome to replay those.
Yeah, and they said they're putting a bunch of quality of life features in there, including a dialogue log, auto battle, and combat speed options, which all of that is great. I want all of that in every JRPG for the rest of time, where I'm like...
And if you also don't know, this is the series that has 108 characters.
Right. In each of them. So, like, and Suikoden 2 is largely hailed as, like, one of the best JRPGs of all time. And I haven't played either one of those. So I'm extra excited to dive into both of those.
These are also the ones that you get way into rebuilding your fort or castle or whatever. I think it's 3 that you get a ship that's your mobile base.
I did play
and you're
a bunch
rebuilding
of 3,
that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Jesus.
I hope
I
they don't price this super high. I hope they keep it around like the $20-$30 price range. Because I feel like this is one of those games that could come out and it's like, if you love JRPGs and you haven't played these, you need to buy them and you need to play them, and especially spend your time on 2. So that's very exciting. I don't think there's a release date or a release window yet. It sounds a lot like, hey, we're working on it and we wanted to show you guys what we're working on. Here you go. It's happening. Speaking, okay, 2 more short news stories. Speaking of Yakuza, Like a Dragon 8 has been announced. It is not Yakuza Like a Dragon 8 is now just called Like a Dragon, which is really interesting because that's not just for the West, that's also for Japan. They have dropped the Yakuza title completely with this game. In one of the weirdest twists in this franchise, Like a Dragon 8 will feature both Ichiban from 7 and Kiryu. Kiryu is, for some reason, returning. Please let that man take a break.
Please. He's going to be your mentor.
No, you get to play as both of them because it's a turn-based RPG
again.
Do you? Yeah, it's a turn-based RPG again, just like 7. It from what they're saying in interviews, they're focusing a lot on the combination attack sort of stuff between the two of them in your party, which sounds really great. Also, Kiryu looks really stupid in this trailer. Kiryu,
I've got Like a Dragon installed on my PS5. I'm just waiting to the end of the year to finally start playing.
Yeah, I need to start playing that because I would really like it. But
I need to finish picking up the rest of the Yakuza games. I think I got up to Kiwami 2 was the last one that I beat, and I haven't picked up 4, 5, and 6 yet, or anything else. So
yeah, those are all real good. So I'm excited to see it. Kiryu's hair is hilarious. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's like a emo, like scene white haircut, which is definitely not Kiryu, which is hilarious. So I don't know. I'm glad they're making more of these. I'm glad 7 did so well that they're going to stick with the turn-based RPG stuff. I'd love for them to do like a handful of those games and then go do something like another style of game after that. They also announced a like a Dragon Gaiden, but it seems like it's a very small title that maybe bridges 7 and 8's story. So I didn't include that in here because I'm not 100% sure what that's going to be. But it's called Gaiden, so it's probably just going to be like a tiny little side story. That's what Gaiden means.
It's like Ninja Gaiden.
Great. Yeah, Team Ninja's making it like a dragon
pull
game.
Out Hayabusa and just put Kiryu in there, or who was the other guy? Ichiban,
yeah.
Just put one of them in there, just doing these crazy flips and fighting demons, and that's how you bridge the gap between 7 and 8.
I love it. Yeah, I was just doing the side story. Was like in some catacombs fighting a bone dragon.
They just released something that gives you so many more questions and no answers, and like, yeah, you have to play this before you play A.
Yeah.
Devil May Yakuza, yes, please.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And lastly here, Xbox had a bunch of announcements at TGS, which is kind of a crazy thing to say. TGS is kind of happening right now, so I'm assuming we'll have more news stories here to talk about next week. They announced that Ninokuni Wrath of the White Witch Remastered is coming to Xbox and Game Pass day and date. Ninokuni 2 will also be coming to Game Pass and Xbox, but that's coming sometime next year. Here's my recommendation for Ninokuni. I would highly recommend playing the first one. If you get tired of its BS, stop playing it, play the second one. If you like the first one and you're okay with how the whole game functions, by all means, keep playing it. I think it's really great. But if you like run out of patience for its unique brand of business, just drop it and play the second one. The second one fixes everything that was wrong with the first one and makes it even better. And you don't really need to know what happened in the first one for the second one. So
it's a completely different story.
Yeah. Ninokuni 2 is like I can recommend that to everybody. First one has some problems, but it's a cool game.
That opening for that second game is so completely off the wall.
I'm the president and I have a gun.
The opening for the first game is off the wall.
Yeah, like
it is, but not so much as being the president witnessing a nuclear attack, and then you're in a fantasy realm with a gun.
Yeah, you're wearing a suit, and it's like, I'm the president. I have a gun. It's like I am so confused.
Like, go on.
Yeah. Microsoft also announced that Deathloop is coming out this week on September 20th. It is Game Pass day and date. They also announced a new feature, update, something.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know what it is. It has some specific name. It's Deathloop, and it's got more stuff in it now. So that seems like a pretty good deal.
Yep.
If you've been waiting to play Deathloop, it will be available on your platform and for free. Asterisk pretty soon. So go play that. And lastly, Persona 5 Royal on all the platforms. Has a release date now, October 21st, 2022, when Persona 5 Royal is coming out.
And
I
if
highly
you're
recommend.
interested-
Go ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
I was
I
gonna say-
highly recommend playing that. Persona 5 Royal is really great. If you haven't, I will repeat my recommendation. 4 is great, play it. 5 is great, play it. If you haven't played 3, you probably shouldn't. the dungeon
It's
in
alright.
there,
It's fine.
the dungeon
Hold
in
on.
there is
Hold
rough.
on.
If you have not played a lot of JRPGs before, it would not be my recommendation to start. If you love 4 and 5, by all means go to 3. It has a great story. It is difficult in a really rewarding way, but is not as varied as 4 and 5 is. If you like 4 and 5, you'll probably like 3. Just don't start with 3 if you haven't maybe played any Persona games. 3 is great, but not a starting point anymore.
Also, if you would like, Atlas has a limited edition on pre-order right now with all new items and stuff for this new release.
Don't say that. Newsom's
Oh,
gonna hear.
I know. Are they making a physical edition
Yeah.
of this one?
There's
Oh,
a whole
okay.
different backpack that comes with this, and it comes with a chest that when you open it, it has the white and black
Oh no.
pattern. Dude, it looks stupid.
I didn't hear
Awesome.
that. I didn't hear that at all. I don't collect this stuff anymore, but I'm susceptible to that. So I'm really excited for Persona 5, the Royal version especially, to be out and more stuff. That game's great. If you want to buy one game and play it for 150 hours, Persona 5 Royal is definitely
Can't
the
do
game
wrong
for
with
you
an
to play.
SMT game.
Yeah, it's really good.
I
I'm
don't
really excited.
think you mentioned it yet, but it's also Game Pass Day and Date.
That's right. I forgot it is coming on Game Pass. I assume that most Japanese games that are coming to Xbox are not on Game Pass. So that's
Usually correct.
yeah. So I believe that all 3 of them are coming to Game Pass. It's just we don't know when 4 and 5 are, or when 3 and 4 are coming out kind of definitively. Okay. That's all of our news stories. That was a wild the industry making up for the last couple of weeks. Just putting all the news stories in this week here. Thank you very much.
Now we go into our
listening.
next section, the rumor mill.
That's right. Yes, let's talk about our next 15 rumors. If you'd
Now
like
on
to
to more
visit us,
depressing news. A bunch of people got laid off.
that's right. You can visit us at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page over there. Please don't forget, we record video versions of everything we record for audio. All of that stuff goes on the YouTube channel, even if we don't live stream it. I upload video versions over there. So like We Roguelike It and Game Club, which is there's a new episode out now, and Critical Misses, all that stuff goes up on the YouTube channel as well. And don't forget patreon.com/E1M1.
Those ones are numbers.
We very quickly talked about all the cool stuff. This is a really wild outcast for this week too. So if you're not a patron, you should go check that out. But if you can't support us financially, totally understand. Best way to support us is by sharing stuff on social media, telling your friends. Word of mouth really genuinely does help for all of this stuff, including like commenting and subscribing on our YouTube videos. It's a meme, but it does work. That's why people still ask you to do it. We're not going to ask you to ring the bell because that's annoying. It comes out the same time every week anyway. So,
well, ring the bell and then mute your notifications. Simple.
There you go. Both of us get the
no
benefits.
one gets preferential treatment. Nobody.
That's right. Oh man. All right. That is our mega-sized episode for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 Oh, my voice.
I'm fine. You did all the talking.
I know.
Cool.
I'm just going to turn it over to you for We Roguelike It. Can't even say the name of the show anymore. Anywho's, Nimp, what are your titles?
I have Can Be Above Average. All About Them Hatch Games. A Fake Within a Fake. A Pretty Solid Killer. And What's Leaving Game Pass this week. It's kind of long, but...
Moon, what do you have?
Can Be Above Average, Hatch Game, Cap Screenshot, The Head Snap, It's Worth Beating, Tutorial Bubbles, Big If True, You Are Already Dead, and subs not dubs.
Don't start that war.
Have we had a subs not dubs episode title before?
To the website.
Subs not dubs. Doesn't seem like it.
Really?
Yeah. That's surprising. I'll take it though.
Yeah.
All right. I have that game can be above average, playing by deadline, a fake within a fake, big if true, and subs not dubs. I think can be above average is definitely on our list since it showed up on all three.
I really like Big If True. I will admit, I also adore You Are Already Dead, but that's obviously a niche reference within a niche reference within a niche reference.
That's right. It's niches all the way down.
For me, it's subs not dubs, or whatever the hell I just said. My brain is gone.
Big if true.
Yeah, Big If True is probably my standout, to be honest.
I can go with Big If True.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have a horse in this race this week, so I'll circle Big if true. I like it. Let me know when you guys are ready.
I've got one, but I don't know if you'll cut it out.
Ready to roll the dice. This is a tougher one.
Okay, I'm ready. You need Boston. I need you or them. I don't know.
We're gonna pinky promise here.
Yeah, but I need you guys to immediately, after I finish saying it, either Nimp or Boston. After Boston, after Nimp, you need to say that what I said is a lie, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say that then.
It's a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Okay. Sounds like a plan then.
All right, yeah, let's go.
All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Get my notebook here. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 778 for September 19th, 2022. Big if true.
Soon to be Spotify exclusive.
It's a lie. Or is it?
Oh, no. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Hope we'll see you next week on Spotify. LOL, that's a joke. Bye.